Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Informing Choices mini pod. Over three podcast episodes, I'm exploring the transformation of work by 2040, and this is the third of the three episodes. There are links to the first and second episode in the podcast description, or if you're watching on YouTube, they'll be on the screen presently. In the first episode, I reviewed some key drivers and explored a number of potential future business models. In the second episode, I shared some thoughts on skills evolution, which skills might diminish in importance by 2040, and which skills will gain importance across the same time frame. We also then had a look at 5 potential jobs of the future, just to kind of get a handle on how different work might be. So in this, the third and final episode of this mini-series, I'll share 3 work models or scenarios, if you like, and consider what I think this means for organizations now. So we'll look at the 3 scenarios. The first is called anchored in place, the second, the flexible core, and the third is the human cloud. And within each of those scenarios, we'll review 5 domains: recruitment, employee fulfillment, supervision, performance management, and organizational culture. So let's dive in to the first scenario. So scenario 1 is called anchored in place. It's perhaps the most traditional model, working in physical workplaces, factories, offices, retail outlets. It's stability rooted in physical workplaces, enriched by emerging technology. With regard to recruitment, there's predominantly a local focus. On-site presence is valued where physical operations or security matter. Human-machine collaboration is a desirable and essential skill. Assessments through the recruitment process are AI-driven. In terms of employee fulfillment, employment feels secure. There are attractive terms and conditions. There are structured career paths with AI-enabled training and development, but a sense potentially of reduced autonomy compared to remote working peers. In terms of supervision, it's a combination of close physical oversight, supported with AI co-managers. Supervision is augmented by predictive analytics to make sure that performance matches expectations. And in performance management itself, there's real-time monitoring through AI and sensors. It's data-driven, objective productivity metrics rule the day. Reduced privacy, though, is a potential downside, with a sort of tech-optimized surveillance culture potentially being experienced. And on organizational culture, it's the physical presence that fosters a place-based community, a cohesive identity. But there is this risk of a 2-tier culture on-site versus remote working peers, a sense of inclusion and exclusion. Some kind of traditional benefits, but some words of caution about how this dynamic might play out between on-site and remote workers. Our second scenario is the flexible core. It's work that flexes around people's lives and the technology. From a recruitment perspective, there's a wider, a global talent pool. Location is much less of a barrier. Interviews are AI enabled, even AI driven selection. They're immersive experiences using virtual reality and the metaverse. Employers balance on-site versus remote requirements and suitability specifically in their recruitment processes. In terms of employment fulfillment, there's much greater flexibility because of the global nature of the talent base. Work-life integration is often much more suited to many people's way of lives. There's a degree of autonomy and personalized development, immersive technology with AI mentors. In terms of supervision, these distributed teams are managed through holographic and immersive platforms. There are AI enhanced project dashboards, and supervisors emphasize outcomes compared to inputs or presence. For performance management, blended measures of outcomes are key. Those outcomes are blended between remote and on-site workers to reflect the nature of each different type of working. Generative AI tools drive feedback, coaching, and career planning requirements. From a cultural perspective, digital inclusion is critical to cohesion. There's a potential divide between core and peripheral workers, and the culture depends on a very intentional design about these workplaces. Our third scenario is the human cloud. This is talent as a service. Talent is globally distributed. From a recruitment perspective, platform-based marketplaces dominate. Employers subscribe to their preferred platforms. Employees recruit employers. AI matches talent to tasks instantly, automatically, autonomously. Reputation scores and blockchain credentials are absolutely key. In terms of employee fulfillment, freedom, autonomy, and flexibility are key advantages for employees. There are global opportunities, but on the downside, potentially weaker job security, weaker benefits, and less, if any, employer loyalty. There's a fragmented career identity, which may be a problem for some, but others really embrace the opportunity of a truly portfolio career. In terms of supervision, minimum direct oversight. There's a reliance on performance metrics, algorithms, platforms, contracts executed on the blockchain. For performance management, it's a platform rating. Reputation scores, peer reviews, blockchain credentials, AI verified deliverables are all absolutely key. It's automated, it's autonomous monitoring of outputs, not inputs. From an organizational culture perspective, you could argue there's none. It's fragmented at best, task oriented for sure. Culture emerges through the digital platforms and professional communities, not through the employers. So that's our three work scenarios of the future. So what have we done through these three episodes of the podcast? Well, we started by looking at the key drivers impacting the transformation of work through to 2040. We looked at some potential business model options across the same time frame. We then said, well, what are the skills that we might see diminishing in importance by 2040, and what are the kind of skills we would see increasing in importance? We then looked at 5 potential jobs of the future just to try and understand how radically different work might be. And then in this episode, we looked into those 3 different work scenarios, really focusing across those 5 different domains. And I think what's important is when we think about those scenarios, we look at both the similarities and the differences. And one thing to bear in mind is that many employers in 2040 will be operating across multiple types of employment model. So it's not about just being really successful and competent in one of those scenarios. It's actually challenging the organization to think about what we would do across all and more workplace scenarios of the future. So what are the 5 takeaways I'd like to leave you with? Well, the first is invest in digital fluency across all those work models. It matters because AI, robotics, immersive tools, and platforms underpin all 3 of the work models. So the lesson here is begin embedding AI literacy, data skills, and immersive collaboration training now. Secondly, redesign recruitment and performance systems. It matters because recruitment shifts from local or manual to AI-driven global platforms. Performance tracking from subjective to data-driven and automated. So the lesson here is organizations should build fair, transparent, and adaptive talent systems that work across on-site, hybrid, as well as gig models. 3, make employee fulfillment a differentiator. It matters because fulfillment really is the pivot, whether it's secure but rigid, so in place employment, whether it's balanced and flexible across hybrid models, or free but precarious across gig models. The lesson is here, offer personalized career development, well-being, and purpose-driven opportunities to retain talent across all models. 4, be intentional about organizational culture. It matters because culture risks fragmentation in hybrid and gig settings, while in-place models may create two-tier divides. So the lesson here is that leaders must design culture deliberately through digital inclusion, community building, and cross-model identity. And finally, number 5, prepare for a plural future of work. It matters because no single model is likely to dominate. Many organizations will juggle across all three. So the lesson here is develop scenario-based strategies now, experiment with hybrid, pilot, platform hiring, and strengthen the on-site culture so you can adapt if the balance shifts between models. And here's my closing thought. The future of work will not be one future, but many. The organizations that thrive will be those that invest in skills, culture, and flexibility today, ready to embrace whichever model or models tomorrow demands. So thank you everyone for listening and watching. You'll see the links to other episodes in this short series in the podcast description or on screen shortly if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another episode of the podcast again. And do tell your friends and colleagues all about the Informing Choices mini pod. I'll see you on another episode very soon.